Hello and welcome back. It's day 2 of the holiday and we've taken a lot of photos today. So I didn't get around to much vlogging today. It's been very full on, lots of different things. There is a little bit though, so watch out for that. But I'm gonna go through the photos I took today, tell you a few stories. So today has been a full day of doing stuff, mainly exploring. We started by walking around the village of Totnes, which is where we're staying. We're staying relatively central, and so just down the path behind us, we come to the high street. Now that's really busy and there's lots of little shops. It's a funny old town in the fact that it doesn't have the supermarkets and the large chains. It's all very independent, small shops, which makes it great for photography because there's a huge amount of variety in colours and people. It's really good. We'll get more into that later, because we started off by just walking around the town. We mainly went around the edge of the town and we were going down this relatively long road. Now this road had a bridge over it, which you can see here. It says welcome to Totnes, and this was kind of the entrance to the place. And along this road, antique cars just kept driving. They kept driving past. There was a blue one, a red one, a black one. There was a few that I didn't manage to get a photo of, and this must have been an event going on. For some reason, all of these cars were driving past, and I managed to get a few photos. Now the blue car and the red car aren't anything special. I just froze the image and took the photo. But with the black car, I did a bit of experimenting. I put the shutter speed down a lot lower. Now I've been trying to do this quite a lot recently when I'm just driving along the motorway or I'm on a train. I'm trying to slow down the shutter speed and pan the camera with the subject to try and get a blurry background but the subject in focus. Now this is very difficult because you've got to do it at the same time as the subject is moving, or the subject won't be kept sharp. So with a lot of failing and not managing to do this, I thought it's about time I got it right. So I tried with this black car and we got some awesome photos. Now the car came from in front of me, so I got a few where it's smaller in the frame and then a few where it's quite big in the frame. Today, for pretty much all of the photos I took, I was using this camera here. This is the Canon 7D Mark II and the Sigma 105mm macro lens. It's an f2.8. This lens is great for getting a bit of reach onto a subject and getting that blur. However, the cars were coming a bit too close. So some of these photos are close, but we got that background blur behind the driver, which is what we were aiming for. So after taking these car photos, we carried on walking around the village and we bumped into this lady. I'll tell you more about her in a minute, but here is the vlog, this is what happened, and I hope you enjoy. And we took a quick break from the town. We're now climbing up this hill. We bumped into a lady with a dog. She told us there was this lovely walk and we're climbing up it. Now it's quite a gradual climb, which is nice. I've been taking some photos. There's not that much to see because the path is just trees and bushes on either side, but we're still getting some nice photos. We walked past a farm shop, so I got this kind of farm photo, which is a bit different. It's not what I would normally take a photo of, and it's just quite cool to see. And when we get to the top of the hill, I'll show you the view. There better be one. And we've come a long way up the hill. Here you can see the view behind me. It's probably looking really tiny and bright, but I'll give you some cinematic clips of what you can see so far, and the hill carries on climbing, so hopefully we'll get some even better views. Now we got to the top of the hill, and sadly, as I kind of predicted, it was covered in trees and bushes, so we didn't get a better view than the one that I showed you while on the hill. However, we still got an awesome view of the whole village down in the valley. So, after that, we went and ate lunch, we kind of came back, had a little bit of relax. I charged my camera batteries because they were all running out, and then I headed out for some street photography. Totnes is a very charismatic village. It's actually ranked second as the most hippie village after Glastonbury, which means it's full of life and colour and charismatic people. It's great for street photography. So I was really excited to get out and take some photos. Now, I mentioned the independent shops earlier, and here is where they come into play. In these shops you get lots of bakeries, you get lots of small shops where people are in the shops visible through the windows. And this is great to get working photos. Now, in a photo you want action, you want a behaviour, you don't just want people standing or posing all the time. Sometimes that's good. But for me, a photo really stands out if there's a behaviour going on in that photo. And with these independent shops you get people working by the windows, and so I could get these cool photos. So here are some pastries. This was a pastry shop. You can see here are the beautiful pastries in the front. And then I got this photo of a woman who's serving a customer. Now it's very zoomed in. Now again, I was using the Sigma 105mm lens, which means it is quite cropped in. Ideally I would have zoomed out a bit, but I couldn't. And so it's just a close-up of her serving this customer, and you can just see the food. But it's a really cool photo. And then we went into another shop. Now this shop had a meat counter. And there was this man. Now, sadly, I missed this man doing a really cool. He had some knives. Now he's cutting meat, and he had his knives, and he was kind of sharpening, you know, when they whack the knives against each other to sharpen them up. I really wanted to get a photo of that. Sadly, I missed that opportunity, but he then put some meat on the weighing scales and had the knife ready. Now, for this photo, I was inside the shop shooting it, so I had my camera on silent mode. I use a DSLR camera, so silent isn't actually silent, it's just quieter, and it means we didn't get all of the shots. You kind of lose that burst speed when you go silent. But we still got some cool photos, and here is my favourite one of them. Now here is a man who was doing some hairdressing. It's, again, not a particularly interesting image. If I had more time, I would have waited for him to do something like bring the razor up to the man's head, but I had to go, we had to do some shopping at that point, so I couldn't take that photo. And then once we came out, the barber's was empty, so we missed that opportunity. But we did get this photo, and it's still a cool action shot. And then there is this photo of a man. Now this man clearly works in a laundrette or this clothes shop, I'm not exactly sure, but he's got this kind of big black shirt dress thing which he's holding out in front of him. He's kind of waving this in the wind, kind of brushing it out, I'm guessing, you know, preparing it to go on the shelf, or maybe it's got crummy, who knows why he's doing it, but that's not the point. I was standing inside a shop opposite. Now because I was inside the shop, I was kind of hidden. He couldn't see me, so he was acting totally normally. I took the photo from inside the shop through the window, but he was outside the other shop, so it was still only one window I was shooting through. On this window, it had some text for the shop I was in, and that kind of blurred in the front to give a bit of foreground. So we've got some blurry foreground, we've got the man shaking the thing out, and then the shop behind him. This is one of my favourite photos. So then, moving away from people in shops and working, I got some motorcycle photos. There was this man on a motorbike. Now he knew I was taking photos of him, and I think he liked it. And so he was kind of acting cool, you know, it came out nice, and I like this close-up photo, but I also got some further back ones, such as these, where you can see the background and the whole motorbike, which is quite nice. It depends if you're focusing on the driver or the motorbike, just a variety of images of the same thing, which is always great, because if you just take all of the photos, you can then decide what you actually prefer or what you want to use later on. It gives you more versatility. Here's just a few photos which I'm not going to talk about because they're not that important, they're not that significant, but they're just random street photos that I took. So then I took the opportunity to do a bit of product photography. We went into quite a few shops, again, lots of small independent shops. They have lots of random things here and there, and we just took a few of these fun photos, again, kind of product photos, but the shops had already organised it for me, so I just had to go in and take the photos. Lighting wasn't necessarily ideal, but everything was looking pretty neat, and here are the results. So then, while looking around the shop, we found this. Now, this is awesome, okay? We were in this bookshop, and I went upstairs. Now, if a shop has an upstairs, it's automatically more cool than a shop that's just on one level. But we go upstairs, there's another kind of area where they're selling books, and then at the front of the first floor, in this bookshop, there was just like a lounge. There was a piano, there was a table, there were some sofas, and yeah, it was great. I loved it. It looked like a really nice place you could just go and sit, read some of the books which were in their shop potentially. I mean, I think they want you to buy them, so if you read the book in their shop without buying it, I don't know if that's actually a good business strategy, but I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to say it was a really nice place. And then on the way back to the cottage, we went through a market square. Now, this market square was relatively full of life. Now, lots of people were packing up. It was about 6 o'clock at the time, so it was getting a bit quiet and the customers weren't coming as fast, and so I think lots of people were packing up. Now, this is probably my favourite photo that I took today. Here is a man, and he clearly runs a bongo or a drum kind of stool, and I wasn't expecting it. I just saw him carrying these drums and I was like, I need this photo, so I took the photo. Now, I cropped it in and I had to bring out his saturation and make the background duller because all of those colours, it's intense and it meant everything kind of blurred into one. But after editing, I think this photo's come out really well. I'm really happy with it, and I would say it's probably my favourite from today. There was also a busker, and I took a few from different angles, and again, a busker is a performer. He's chosen to go out on the street and perform, so they're a great subject to take photos of because as soon as they see a camera, they start performing even more and pulling great expressions, and that's what we want. We want behaviours and expressions to kind of bring out an emotion. That's what we want as photographers. So that's pretty much summed up day 2 of the holiday. And so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Go check out my links in the description to my shop and my Patreon. I'd love it if you could show me some support. And with all that being said, I'll see you in the next one.